Freddie Mercury, a four-octave vocal range that could make angels weep. But what if I told you his greatest composition wasn't even a song?
Oh, now you've got me intrigued. What do you mean by that?
Well, I'd argue that Freddie's greatest composition was his own larger-than-life persona. Born Farrokh Bulsara in Zanzibar in 1946, he transformed himself into the rock icon we know and love. It's a fascinating journey from shy immigrant to global superstar.
That's an interesting perspective. You know, I've always wondered about his early years. How did that transformation begin?
It really kicked off when his family fled to England in 1964 due to the Zanzibar Revolution. Imagine being thrust into the swinging 60s of London after growing up in Zanzibar. Talk about culture shock. But Freddie, he thrived in that environment. It was in England where he started experimenting with music and developing his unique style.
And it wasn't long before he formed Queen, right? I mean, that's when the real magic started happening.
Exactly. Queen formed in 1970, and Freddie quickly became known for his incredible vocal range and flamboyant stage presence. But here's a little-known fact. Before Queen, Freddie was in a band called Ibex, which later changed its name to Wreckage. It's like you can almost see him trying on different musical identities before finding his true self in Queen.
Oh, wow. I had no idea about Ibex. It's fascinating to think about those early days when he was still finding his footing. So, what do you think was the turning point for Freddie and Queen?
Well, their big breakthrough came with Killer Queen in 1974. It was their first hit in the US and really showcased Freddie's songwriting skills. But, and here's where it gets really interesting, it was Bohemian Rhapsody that cemented their place in music history.
Bohemian Rhapsody is just. It's in a league of its own, isn't it? I mean, how many other songs can you think of that blend opera and rock so seamlessly?
Absolutely none. And you know what's crazy? When Freddie first presented the song to the band, they were skeptical. Can you imagine? One of the greatest songs of all time, and it almost didn't happen because it was too long and complex for radio.
That's wild. It just goes to show how ahead of his time Freddie was. Speaking of which, we can't talk about Freddie without mentioning his legendary Live Aid performance in 1985. That 20-minute set is often cited as one of the greatest live performances in rock history.
Oh man, that performance. It gives me chills just thinking about it. The way Freddie commanded that stage, how he had the entire Wembley Stadium in the palm of his hand. It was nothing short of magical. But here's the thing. Behind all that showmanship was a deeply private person.
Right, that's something that often gets overlooked. Freddie was quite guarded about his personal life, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Despite his larger-than-life public persona, Freddie kept his private life, well, private. His relationship with Mary Austin, for instance, was a cornerstone of his life. He referred to her as his common-law wife and closest friend. It's touching how devoted he remained to her throughout his life.
And it's important to acknowledge his relationships with men as well, particularly Jim Hutton, who was with Freddie during his final years. Freddie's sexuality was complex, and he often avoided discussing it publicly.
You're right. It's a reminder of the challenges LGBTQ+ individuals faced, even those in the public eye. And speaking of challenges, we can't discuss Freddie Mercury without addressing his battle with AIDS. He was diagnosed in 1987, but kept it private until just before his death in 1991.
It's heartbreaking to think about. But even in the face of such a devastating illness, Freddie continued to create music. His dedication to his art was unwavering.
Absolutely. Even when he knew he was dying, he poured himself into his work. The show must go on, indeed. And go on it did. After his death, Queen's popularity surged. There was a resurgence of interest in their music, introducing Freddie to a whole new generation of fans.
It's incredible how his influence has endured. He's been inducted into both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And let's not forget the Mercury Phoenix Trust, established in his memory to raise awareness for AIDS.
It's these little details about Freddie that make him feel so human. Like, did you know he was a total cat person? He even wrote a song for his favorite cat, Delilah.
Oh, that's adorable. It's these glimpses into his personal life that make him feel so relatable, despite his larger than life persona.
Exactly. And speaking of his persona, I came across an interesting interview in Circus magazine from 1977. The interviewer, Don Rush, really captured Freddie's impact and charisma. It's amazing how even early in Queen's career, Freddie's star power was evident.
That's fascinating. It's always interesting to look back at contemporary accounts and see how an artist was perceived in their heyday. Did you happen to come across any information about Queen's chart performance during that time?
As a matter of fact, I did. Queen was a powerhouse on the UK Top 40 Albums chart, with multiple albums reaching number one. It's a testament to their popularity and the quality of their music. But you know what's really interesting? Freddie's cultural background. He was of Parsi descent, which often gets overlooked when discussing him.
Oh, right. The Parsi are a Zoroastrian community that originated in Persia and later settled in India, aren't they? It's a fascinating cultural heritage.
Exactly. I came across a photographic journey about the Parsis by Suni Taraporevala that provided some interesting context about the community Freddie came from. It's easy to forget sometimes that behind the glitz and glamour of rock stardom, there are real people with rich cultural backgrounds and personal histories.
That's so true. And I think that's what makes Freddie Mercury such an enduring figure. He was this incredible, larger-than-life performer, but he was also a complex individual with a unique background and personal struggles.
Absolutely. It's that combination of talent, charisma, and humanity that continues to fascinate people. Even now, decades after his death, we're still talking about him, still discovering new aspects of his life and work. And isn't that the mark of a true icon? Someone who continues to inspire and captivate long after they're gone.
Definitely. Freddie Mercury may have left us too soon, but his impact on music and popular culture is undeniable and ongoing. It's interesting to think about how his music has been used in various contexts over the years, from movies to commercials to sporting events.
Oh, for sure. We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions have become anthems at sporting events worldwide. And let's not forget the recent biopic Bohemian Rhapsody, which introduced Freddie and Queen's music to yet another generation of fans. It's a testament to the timelessness of their music.
Speaking of their music, what's your favorite Queen song? It's hard to choose, I know, but if you had to pick one?
Oof, that's a tough one. But if I had to choose, I'd probably go with Somebody to Love. The way Freddie's voice soars in that song, the gospel influences, the raw emotion, it's just incredible. What about you?
For me, it's got to be Under Pressure, their collaboration with David Bowie. The way Freddie and Bowie's voices play off each other, plus that iconic bass line, it's just magical.
Oh, great choice. That collaboration between two musical giants produced something truly special. As we wrap up our discussion, what do you think is the most important takeaway about Freddie Mercury's life and legacy?
I think for me, it's the power of self-expression. Freddie was unapologetically himself on stage, pouring his heart and soul into every performance. He showed us that embracing who you are can lead to creating something truly extraordinary.
I love that. For me, it's the reminder that behind every larger-than-life figure, there's a human being with their own struggles, joys, and complexities. Freddie Mercury was a rock god, yes, but he was also just Freddie, a man who loved cats, valued his friendships, and faced his challenges with courage and creativity.
That's beautifully put. I think Freddie himself would appreciate that perspective. After all, as he once said, "I'm just a musical prostitute, my dear."
Leave it to Freddie to sum it up so colourfully. Well, listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the life and legacy of Freddie Mercury. Remember, the music lives on, so the next time you hear a Queen song, take a moment to appreciate the artistry and the man behind it. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the music playing. This is Oki Radio, signing off.